Hello, everyone. Hi. It is the Wednesday Solder Sesh. I am Carrie Sundra, and this is Natasha of Techno Chic. Yay!
Hey,
Hello.
Carrie.
Thank
Thanks for
you so
having
much.
me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. I'm excited. So you might have caught way back when we started first live streaming last year. We made this cool bag with LEDs, and this actually kind of took us a little over one sesh to sew up, sesh and a half maybe. But this is one of Natasha's kits, and really excited to have you on and talk kits and do more kits, and yeah, more with sewing and creating like fun little wearables.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. I'm gonna put this aside so it can twinkle a little bit.
Yeah. I love it when those bags, like, first off, I love that it still works. It's been like a year.
Oh,
So like, yeah. So I love seeing the stuff made out there in the world too. So
awesome. So tell us a little bit about the bow tie kits. Like, what was your impetus for creating them?
right. Yeah. So I went to, actually, it was all about Maker Faire. I went to a few Maker Fairs, and I knew that the branding and the vibe that like Maker Faire was giving off probably wouldn't be something that like my parents would have brought me to as a girl, because I'm an only child, and like I was a little ballet dancing girl, but I also like obviously love all this tech stuff now, but I knew that like my parents wouldn't see that in me when they saw this like big red robot and like all these engineering things. They wouldn't bring me there. So I thought like, maybe I could try to make a really quick craft project that like had that tech in it, but was like a craft project at its heart. And that way the parents might be like, oh, look, it's a crafty place. Like, let me bring, give the like stereotypical mindset of like bringing the girl into. So I started to create these like mashup projects and trying to figure out like, okay, if you're the type of person who only buys in the girl aisle, and there's no tech there, that's not good, So I started to think about how I could like do these crossover things, because I think Maker Faire did a good job of like welcoming the like more masculine stuff, but not as much as the feminine stuff. So yeah, that's kind of where it came out. It actually started, I made little flower pins, and then I was like, oh, I could play on like formal wear, so like you could wear it as a bow tie or a bow too.
I loved that
like,
about it too.
I was trying to like bring in like okay, we got like all the ranges of gender, all the ranges of like different types of tech and shiny stuff, and like just kind of like throw all those things together and then like make a project that was as simple as possible, so that you would feel like not only was it like a good experience, but you felt like empowered by it, so that you could then take the next step and like, oh look, there's an Arduino project with a flashing LED. I wonder how that works. And like be that like little tiny bridge that gets people feeling confident. So that's where that all came from.
I love it. I also love that. I'm gonna zoom in here for a second. I think maybe or not. There we go. Other way around. I love. Yes, I love that these are circuit board themed too.
Yes.
So, super cool. I was like, well, I didn't even know that when I got the kit. And so
oh wow, like, you actually got a lucky one, because they are random. So there's I think like 7 different patterns that I made. And actually it's kind of cool because you got 2 in a kit with the circuit board, and that would be kind of rare because they're like randomly chosen.
Dang.
So
I feel kind of special now. And now that I'm going through the kit, I am noticing, okay, I got 2 of the grids.
Okay.
And I think I got yeah, no, it is pretty lucky that
there's a bunch of different ones.
2 circuit boards. So yeah, only got 2 of the few.
Woohoo. So yeah, you have the blues kit, and I have 2. There's actually 4 kits. I have 2 of the other ones in front of me. Should I do pink, orange, yellow, red, white, black? What should I do?
Well, I was gonna say for us, it was between the blues kit and the neon kit. So
Okay.
I kind of like the neon.
Do a neon one. All right, let me open this one up then. Let's see what I got. It's a box of chocolates.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
And so they come with these nice instructions here.
Yeah, so everything in here was designed by me. I made the little instructions. And I made the battery packs, and I added on it, you have the power, change the world, so that, if this is your first project with a battery, you feel empowered to keep going.
Yeah, I loved that, and I thought that was so cool that you had the batteries branded too. I was like, dang, that is fancy.
I found out I ordered them, from China, and I found out that it really was going to be like an insignificant difference between them just sending me their brand and me having them like print whatever on the front. So I was like, of course I want it to say something like better than just like Energy Cell 253, or whatever.
Yeah, I know. I'm starting to feel a little sad about the PK Cell ones that we put in our Learn to Solder kits. I'm like, oh dang, maybe we need to look into like branded ones, because that's definitely sweet.
I mean, if you're ordering in bulk, it makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I guess if it's interesting to you, I could like talk about the different manufacturing processes of all of these too.
Yeah, I'm totally interested in that. And definitely a lot of our listeners are also doing kind of like little small Tindy shops or things like that themselves. And I know that they would be interested in that.
Cool.
Speaking of, hello, Bob. How's it going? LEDs are the gateway to MCUs, he says. Yes, exactly. LEDs are always the gateway drug for electronics, I feel like.
It's like I'm distracting you with shininess.
LED is free. Shiny.
So I found a circuit board one in my kit too, so I guess I'll do that.
Nice.
Since we're like all circuit themed today.
Heck yeah.
So the other thing that I really love playing with is the use of shininess that is non-conductive shininess with shininess that is conductive shininess. Oh, I hit my camera. Because it like shows you the material properties of something when you notice that like shiny doesn't always mean conductive. And I have some foil here that this is a foil dye process where it's a copper plate that gets put on a machine, and then it's heated up, and then the foil gets thread through the machine, and then it comes together like a clamshell and stamps the hot foil onto the paper. So that's very what you see there. And if you get a kit, you can see there's like just the tiniest bit of indentation on the paper from that press process. Yeah. So it's very similar to like a letter press, but it has foil in between it. And then the other step is the die cutting process, which is a steel rule die, which is basically like a razor blade that has been do you remember there used to be this maker machine? It was like the wire bend, like DI wire.
No,
it was like you could feed a wire into this machine, and it would like mechanically bend the wire into a like shape that you programmed. So it would be like if you made like a lampshade, it would do like the same curve for a wire 12 times, and then you could make this like really cool 3D thing. Anyway, I always picture that when I think about the bending of the razor blades for the dies, because you're kind of like precision bending this like really long razor blade into within like a millimeter of, or maybe even more accurate than that, to make the die. And then that also goes in the same machine. It's like a clamshell machine, so it just like it's a person who feeds it, and they have plain paper on the right and the finished good on, and they do this. Oops. And it just goes in one at a time, and they crank them all out. So I do kind of love the process of going through learning all about this, because I was like on the factory floor talking to them and telling them, like, okay, it has to be like this, and figuring out even like what these processes would be to get this made, because I needed so many of them. Yeah. No, that's super cool. How were you part of an incubator that kind of got you hooked up with that? Or how did you go about finding a factory and getting a tour? Yeah, I was just going off of the blind love that I thought that this deserved to be in the world.
Excellent.
And yeah, I did do 2 Kickstarters, and that didn't end up even being enough money to do all of this. But
Yeah.
I was just being dumb and stupid, and like I just want this to be, and I want kids to have this, and all of that. But yeah, so I wasn't
wanted to put it out in the world.
Yeah, but when I was in undergrad, I started to major in graphic design. I switched to advertising later, but my graphic design professor took us to a paper factory as a field trip, and like they showed us how the paper was made from like literally like nothing to here is a stack of paper, and seeing the huge rolls and everything. And I think that like that experience just made me feel more comfortable, because I like understood how the paper is made and like what a factory's job is to do, so I think that I just kind of like wanted to explore that as well as just like a curiosity of mine. But yeah,
manufacturing is fascinating. Like when you get into how things are made, it is really interesting, because there are so many unique tools and processes for making things that are just everyday objects that we don't even think about. When you were talking about the dye, it reminded me of this amazing video that I saw of Christmas cookie cutters being made. And like there's this rule there, and there's this machine that comes in from all of these angles, and you start with a circle that's just like spot welded together, and it goes bloop 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 bloop, and then it's just like the shape of a bunny rabbit or a Christmas tree or like whatever.
That's awesome.
And it was so satisfying to watch, because it's just one of those things that looks, it's so smooth and interesting, it almost looks fake,
Right.
Yeah,
I love there's so much of that on YouTube, and of course the show How It's Made is like so much fun to watch too. So yeah, I guess it's just like from watching those types of shows, it's like when you watch a home renovation show and you're like, I'm gonna redo my kitchen.
I love it. You're inspired.
Absolutely.
Cool.
So yeah, that's this piece. So we can actually start folding this a little bit. So the dies actually had cutting blades and scoring blades. And if you kind of look up close, it's actually easier to see on the back. There's some, you might have just 3 lines, or do you have curvy lines on yours?
I have, wrong way. I have, let's see. Oh, it's hard for me. Our light is too diffused. We're usually trying to not get reflections off of circuit boards, so yeah, which is not helping me in this situation. But mine looks like a little bit scored.
Oh, yeah, like you have curved lines. There are in the kit. There's 2 slightly different designs. Some of them are like a flat, so it's more of like a traditional tie, and then some of them are more like a frilly bowy bow tie.
Yeah.
Mostly because I designed 2 things and I like them both, so I just decided to randomly insert them.
Cool.
But anyway, so you could kind of consider these lines as 3 lines. So the bottom one is curved, the middle one is straight, and the top one is curved. So let's start on the bottom one first, and you just want to fold it down on the bottom, and then you'll see those 2 little bumps kind of stick up. Yeah, exactly. And then you're going to fold up on the straight line next. So it's kind of like in between the 2 curved lines. Like that.
I think I got it.
And then you're going to fold down on the top one again. So it looks like an M.
Yeah, like there we go.
Back and forth.
Cool.
Yeah, and then you're going to do the same thing on the other side. So it's like flip the whole thing over and
nice.
Do that. So it's like down, up.
And then I'm going to put this on the table to fold it up. There we go. And folding it back down again. Nice.
Great. Okay, so now we have this like kind of bow tie shape. And now we're going to get the little LEDs out. So you just need 1. There's 10 in the kit, so that's why you get 10 LEDs. It makes 10 bow ties. and 10 batteries and 10 pins and all of that. 10, 10, 10, everything. So these LEDs I really, really like. They're flat head LEDs. And
straw hat.
No, the straw hat one has like a tiny curve to the top of it.
Oh, so these are interesting.
Yeah.
Okay,
so
yeah.
A straw hat. Actually, I think I have.
Yeah,
one.
I think I was just gonna say I have some straw hat ones here. I thought that they were the same, but you were totally correct.
So
they're not.
It's funny, actually. If you really want to think about it, this one, which is a straw hat, it looks more like a top hat.
I agree. Like I envision that a straw hat has more of a brim.
Right. Which maybe we need to have someone manufacture us some actually straw hat headed LEDs, because that would look pretty cool with like a
it would halo. Yeah, totally. Sombrero LEDs. Like, yeah.
Sombrero LED. That's great. But anyway, so that one has the curve, and the ones that I have are the flat top. So it's actually like, I know it's kind of hard to get the camera to focus on it, but it's completely flat. And I just think that these are so fun because I think it just reminds me of like just a sequin.
Oh yeah.
You know? And the other thing is when they're in this kit, it's really nice because you can stand these LEDs up on the table where their legs are sticking up and they just stay there.
Oh, check that out.
So you can just like
that.
Yeah.
I love it.
You know, party tricks, right?
Yes. I'm here for it.
You know, I could stand an LED up on its top, and then people are like, "No, you can't."
So I'm guessing the LED goes through the middle here.
It goes through the middle, yep. And then there's actually 2 more holes. So for that, there's tiny hole punches that are pre-punched for you, and then they're on the side too. So you're gonna go. It doesn't matter, one side and then the other. Doesn't matter which down first, but they're all pre-punched for you. And sometimes you can kind of just use the wires to, if the little like piece of paper is still there, you can just use it to stick out. Okay. And now we're going to pick out one of these centerpieces here.
Yeah.
So you either go like matchy or contrast or whatever.
Oh, I'm going contrast. I just don't know which one I want. Yeah, I think I want a shiny silver. I'll do this one.
I'm going to go with gold with mine.
Cool. Nice.
So these are kind of fun. This is a paper called Yupo, which is actually like plastic. It's like a plasticky paper. And it diffuses light really beautifully versus a paper that would have like pulp to it.
Interesting.
And then it also took the foil really nice. So I really love these pieces. This is actually the second run that I did of these. The first one I did on a different type of paper, and I just don't think it like diffused the light as nicely. So yeah, small victories.
Nice. Yeah.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna thread the 2 little ends and then put it over the front.
Yeah.
And then thread it back so it like kind of becomes that center of the bow.
Yeah. Oh, LEDs are there. We go. Awesome.
Cool. And now, speaking about the flat top, here's a little technique that I use because you don't want the LED to fall out inside of it. You want it to be like all the way down, right? So if you just kind of keep your thumb there, you can allow it to push in. The other thing is if you want, you can kind of put it down on the table too. And then if you push down, it's all the way in. Now what we'll do is we're going to fold the legs down along like this kind of angle down here. So the short one first, the negative one. Okay. Down there, and then the positive one actually goes right on top of it, which is so counterintuitive for everyone.
Oh, okay.
But
I think I know what's happening here, maybe.
What'd you say?
All
right, there you go. Cool. And we're putting it on an angle so we have more room for the pin later when we put it together. So now we need to pop out a battery. So go go ahead and grab these. Oh, went flying. And I love these tiny little batteries. They're so cute. They're 1616s. And that's the other fun thing about like being at an event is that you get these guys will come up to you and be like how are you powering that? Like, because it's so tiny, they don't see what the battery is.
Nice.
Show me your tricks. So what you're going to do is stick the battery in between the two little legs with the positive side up like that. And you should see it light up.
Yeah. Did I get it right? Yes, I did.
Yay.
Excellent.
And then what I do is I take a piece of tape and I'll show you a little technique for doing
I forgot the tape. Robin, could you grab us some clear tape?
Clear tape.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, so this is just like some Scotch tape.
Yeah.
Normal stuff. Well, I guess I'll show you in the meantime. I like to take the tape and stick it between my two fingers, like I'm like peace, but there's tape there, and then stick it underneath the battery like that.
Oh.
And then kind of like wrap it.
Got it. Yes, that makes sense. Okay, so let's see if we can do this. Here, got our tape.
Yep.
And then do this here. I think I need it over there a little bit more. There we go. And then underneath the battery and the leg. Yeah. Cool. And then just wrap it.
Yep.
Awesome.
Hey, and then the last step
I didn't wrap it tight enough.
Oh.
Hang on. You had to wrap it tighter. Okay. Got that. We got that under there. You're all tight, 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 tight. Hey, there we go.
Yay. Sometimes I also like will take another extra little tiny piece of tape and just like stick it, just so that it kind of stays in place. But that's kind of optional. And then the last step is to take out one of these little pins that come in the kit here. They have some adhesive tape on the back that you can just peel. And then you stick it right in the center. And that's why we put the battery kind of facing down so that it would be in the battery. So it's like on this
Nice.
right there. And then it's just a matter of going and putting it on wherever you want.
Excellent.
So, you know, if you have a collared shirt, you could wear it like a bow tie. You could just pin it to your shirt. I've also seen pinning it to a scrunchie, so you can make it into a hair bow or a headband. Nice. You can kind of slip the headband underneath this little bar here, and you know, then it becomes like this type of like Minnie Mouse bow.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
I'm going with a side of the V-neck T-shirt look.
Love
here.
It. I think I'll do the same. Appropriate shirt.
The you know, the lapel bow tie.
Get two and then just like
there we go.
New fashion trend. Watch out.
Awesome. Cool.
But yeah, those are the bow ties.
I love it. So, how did you get into STEM in the first place? Because it sounds like your parents, it might not have been on your parents' radar. And actually, I know that's
really fun because right, I wasn't offered a lot of like encouragement in that, but the funny thing is my parents actually owned a little mom and pop computer store when I was growing up. So cool. I remember being like, you know, counter height, like I could barely see over the counter and like watching the guy in the back soldering the machines. Because, you know, like when I was a kid, you didn't like when your computer broke, you didn't like send it away or like, you know, you got it fixed. It was not like disposable or like, oh, send it and they'll they'll repair it and send it and sell it to someone as refurbished or whatever. No. So that was like a repair guy in the back. You bring your computer in and he's, you know, literally soldering on the computer itself. So yeah, I think I was just around it. So that's what made me feel comfortable enough to like, when I was out in the world, be like, oh, this is interesting to me. But, you know, coming from like the expectations of, you know, what like a little ballerina looks like, you know, you don't get offered as many of the like more masculine, you know, like in that era, like one generation above me, that was a masculine thing to be an engineer or to be a computer geek or whatever they wanted to call you. So yeah, I kind of had like that both sides tugging at me, like, oh, this is really cool, and I feel comfortable because I've been around it, and you know, whatever. So I actually ended up going, you know, I kind of like kept that in the back of my head. I did take a few like computer art courses in high school, but that weren't honestly very good, but they at least kept me like in it. And then I went to art school. I thought I was going to do advertising and like produce TV commercials. But that didn't really work out. I graduated 2008. There was like no jobs. So I was like, you know, I like teaching. I like, you know, computer stuff because that was in my background. My mom's actually a teacher. So I got a job at the Apple Store teaching computers.
Nice.
So I did that for a bunch of years. And that was interesting because I met so many people. Just, you know, everyone comes into the Apple Store, right? So you have like this really wide range of personalities that you meet, expectations that people have for you and all that. And through those classes, you know, we sat down and I would teach people how to use like Final Cut Pro and like Keynote and like, you know, how to even use a mouse sometimes, like all ranges of people. And
you know, I didn't know that the Apple Store actually taught classes. Is that something that they still do?
I don't know how. I know that they still do something. But yeah, it used to be that you basically would book time with me. Like we would kind of consider ourselves like the shrinks of the Apple Store. Like I could sit down and make you feel better about your relationship with your computer for an hour.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it would be like these one-on-one classes with people, and then we would do like small group workshops. And then the bigger store, the one that I worked at in Soho, we actually had a theater. So there would be like, you know, a group of maybe like 30, 40 people could sit down and learn at once too, like a classroom.
Nice.
Yeah, so that was like really interesting because I was like watching people learn software and kind of like make them feel good about you know, their confidence and their abilities to use everything. And then one of my students, actually, I was explaining that like, you know, I really kind of love this like whole smart home thing, like all these cool products are coming in, like I really would love to know how to like be a creator of that, not like a consumer of all of this. And she told me about this program at NYU that was called ITP, and it's basically like a combination of like art and tech. So,
nice.
And she was was a professor somewhere else in NYU. And she was like, you need to go here to find people that are like you, who are like this like weird mashup of artist techie enthusiasts. And she was right. So I went there, and, you know, that's kind of how so like, really, I come at it hard from like an arts, like I'm just here to support my art, but I want to be able to learn how to incorporate all of this because there's so much more length than anyone will ever let you believe, you know. So you know, I hate that like they put kids into boxes and say like, oh, are you good at art or are you good at science? It's like both.
Yeah. Yes. Can there be room for all of that?
Right.
Yes.
Right.
And it's interesting how many people think that engineers are not creative, right? And I'm just like, I don't know what engineers you've been hanging out with, but man, engineers are some of the most creative people I know, actually.
Yes.
So I definitely about breaking down those weird stereotypes and misconceptions.
Right. Yeah. I don't know your story. Like, what got you into all of this?
I, boy, my dad, he was not an engineer when I was growing up. He was like helping run a family restaurant business, but he
Okay.
had been an engineer and worked on the Apollo programs.
Wow.
So yeah, so that was like super cool. And we would, we would do sciencey things when we were together, and like go to the Air and Space Museums and things like that. And, we toured Kennedy Space Center once and things like that. So that was super cool. So I got, and I had really good teachers too. I had the luck of having some really good science teachers in middle school and in high school. And like my first science teacher was a woman, actually, in 7th grade, Miss Lawson. And we're Facebook friends now. It's cool. But I mean, I remember like she taught us the scientific method, and it was like in 7th grade, and it was a serious science course. And like from then on, I really liked it. And so I knew that I wanted to do something in science and engineering, and went to college and chose engineering as a path. And I went to Harvey Mudd, so we just graduated with a general engineering degree. They had a very strong emphasis and strong philosophy that undergrad is for learning a lot about many things, and graduate school is for specializing. So everybody graduates with a general engineering degree, and you get a background in a lot of different things. And you also take a lot of liberal arts and humanities courses. They're a third of your curriculum. Wow. So I really liked that as well, because in high school and stuff, I also really liked literature and reading and doing drama and stuff like that. So yeah, I didn't want to choose either. I didn't want to pick one at the exclusion of another either. So yeah, so then I did electronics for work for a long time, mostly like autopilots for very early unmanned aircraft, when it was when it was still hard to do small flying things before you could just, like buy them on Amazon and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I quit engineering for a while and dyed yarn. And then I came back to engineering and did a variety of things, and ended up doing consulting and helping people with product development and designing custom circuit boards for a variety of different things. So, and now kind of phasing that out and working more on making fun things that hook people into electronics. So yeah, doing that. And then I also make some yarn tools. We've been doing that for a while. So when I dyed yarn for a while, I learned a lot about, running a business and things like that. And I decided that the way that I was dyeing yarn, it was not very scalable. And I just decided that I didn't love it enough to put the time and the effort into it that I would need to do to make it scalable. And so, but I was like, there were some tools that I really wish I had had when I was dyeing yarn. And I have the expertise to like understand what the problems are and make something that solves those problems. So I now also make some yarn tools for other people who are dyeing yarn. So they're not like tools that you as a knitter or crocheter would buy, but they're for other people who are like hand dyeing yarn and selling yarn to knitters and crocheters.
That's awesome.
Help with yarn slinging and yarn management.
Okay. Yeah, that's awesome. Like, you found this like niche and been like, oh, I can help. I can make it better. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So I think as we're talking, I'll work on a tutu.
Yeah.
So I have this light up tutu kit is nice. It's really, this isn't even really learning anything about electronics. It's just combining like a string of fairy lights with a homemade tutu. But it does combine that like craft and tech in a way that I hope, again, like, makes people think like, oh, these are not separate. It's all about blurring lines with me. I'm just like, the more we blur the line, the more you have to ask someone what their preference is. So it's a good thing, I think.
I agree. And like, I don't, gateway projects, well, even not gateway projects. I mean, I get satisfied by making something as simple as a folding, LED blinking light bow tie, right? I mean, it is still fun and it is immensely gratifying, especially if you're making complex projects day in and day out. It is intensely gratifying to just like make something that's simple, that's fun, that you don't have to worry about,
Yeah, and every time I do something like that, it kind of like makes me appreciate the time that I'm making, because it is hard when you make things for a living and then you're like, do I really want to spend the next hour doing something? But when you do, it's like, no, that was really rewarding,
Yeah, definitely.
Being able to do something for fun. So I'm making this, like, I'm unraveling all this tulle around this piece of cardboard so that I can cut it at 16-inch lengths. So instead of like, measuring a million times, I'm just gonna wrap it and then I'm gonna cut it down one side.
Nice.
So, just do this forever. It's a good thing to do while you're chatting because it's like so repetitive. Rolling.
Bob was saying that it looks like the bow ties look like origami meets tech.
Yes.
And thinks that they would look good on a lanyard at a conference as well.
I have done that. I did the flowers. One of the clients that I work for is Chibitronics, so I made a version of the flower for using their little circuit stickers, and we did it at a conference last weekend, and it was fun because everyone was like, putting it on their lanyard and walking around, and people were like, hey, where'd you get that? Where are all the flowers coming from? And we're like,
nice. What kind of work do you do for your Chibi?
So basically, like, since this work that I've been talking about so far has really been like pretty solid part-time work. So the other stuff that I've been doing is more like content creation. So like making video tutorials, making example projects with different products like that. So yeah, I think that's good for my skill set,
Nice.
But recently I've been like, I work by myself. Do you work by yourself or do you work with others?
I have some people now. It is awesome to have people. I worked for myself for a long time, but I have 2 employees, Robin and Jesse. Robin helps me with the live streams here every week. She's off to the side. And and then I also work with a few consultants too, who do like specific projects and stuff with us. So
nice.
Yeah,
so I've been like, this is my little studio here, and I work here by myself. And even just like having a chat like this is really fun for me because I'm like always here by myself. So I'm like, it would be really nice if I could like end up on a team of a few people or something like that to break the solo gig.
break the talking to yourself monologue.
Exactly.
I did a lot of that. I talked to my cat a lot when I worked by myself at home.
I have a little dog that is cat sized. So same.
Nice.
Yeah, he has a little bed here and everything.
So I have so I have this, zoom out a bit. I have this Open Hardware Summit bag. And
that is such a great design.
Yeah, I don't know who was the actual person who designed the Open Hardware like theme and graphics this year, but they're really great. They have this like, I don't know, what was that guy who did Where the Wild Things Are?
The
author is my brain is not connecting the words right now, but anyway, they have that kind of a feel to it. It's like all like weird creatures and like zigzag squiggly things, and it's real fun. But I thought that since this bag has LEDs printed on them, it might need some actual LEDs in the LEDs. So I do not. I only have the straw hat ones though, that are the extras. They're not the super cool flat top ones, which now I'm. Wait a minute. Oh, no!
I'm sorry,
I think a straw hat might have made its way onto this bow tie by accident. Oh no, it didn't.
Oh wait,
the straw
the
hat
bow tie
go?
kit. If you wanted to use those, you
Oh,
could
there's
use
the
them.
straw hat. I know I could, but I'm like, no, these are for the kit.
Yeah, that's true.
So I'll keep them. I'll keep them for the remaining bow ties.
Okay.
Maybe Robin wants to make a bow tie. Well, yeah, awesome. Okay, I'm sending them down the line here.
Cool. It does come with that instruction sheet if you want to reference it.
Yeah.
I know you just watched how to do it, but there's a
There we go. So yeah, I got a bunch of straw hat LEDs. So I'm thinking of poking them through first and kind of like mapping out where I'm gonna sew stuff on the back, and then then doing it from there.
I think that's a good spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I usually just pick like is up positive or is down positive or something.
Yes,
like
that is a good point. I should be very consistent with that.
Right. Or if you're gonna do a circle, it's like inside or outside.
Outside. You know? Yep. And so yeah, since this pretty much is a circle, what I'm thinking of the battery. So this is kind of it's a lot thinner and wimpier material than your nice canvas bag is.
Okay.
It's like normal. It's normal, like cloth bag, tote bag stuff. Yeah. And so yeah, I was kind of hoping, but I think that this is just too crazy. But I found these awesome like oh yeah, you need the middle. Sorry. Like there we go. So I found these massive LEDs here that are quite long.
The big
the 10 millimeter
yeah.
RGB, and I was like, ooh, I want to use them, but I think that they're going to be kind of too bulky and heavy for the material.
Okay.
So I'm just going to go with the little ones, and it'll be good. It'll be fine.
Cool.
Yeah. So, but yes, since it is in a circle, I'm thinking that I think I'll put the battery maybe near the seam so it's a little more sturdy there.
Yeah.
And then maybe come in from the side and then do split and do a circle this way with the wires, with the thread. So I will have like an inner and an outer. And I think I will put positive down and negative up. So the long LEDs towards the inside of the circle.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, because then you can just do a loop instead of going on either side.
Yeah.
Like a big, like...
Yeah. Let's see. So I poked that guy through. Well, it works with this particular bag. It's getting a little hung up on the, there we go, on the part of the LED that has sort of like the thicker leg part, but that wasn't too bad. Just had to push it through a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
And then I'll kind of, go sort of sideways here to get that staple effect. Zoom in a little here so you can see it. So yeah, that is basically, I think, what I'm gonna be doing. Nice.
Oh yeah, now that it's close up, I can see the LEDs.
Yeah, the LEDs. Yeah.
Great. Love
Mine's
it.
gonna be the coolest open hardware summit bag ever. Oh.
Talk of the town.
That's right. That's right. I have till Friday to get it done.
Oh wow, this Friday.
This Friday. Yeah. Nothing like a good last minute project.
Yeah. You could connect the power and ground at the one at a time. So then you can just give up if you want to stop sewing. Like, oh, I got 2 done. Okay.
Right.
Okay. Sometimes when I do that bag, I'll use 2 needles if I have them, and I'll sew them kind of like that, more for testing purposes, because then you know you got it, rather than having a problem earlier in the circuit.
Yep. Yeah, that's a good point.
I don't do that for my tutorial because I feel like, you know, I don't know if everyone has an extra needle lying around, but it's like a secret trick.
Well, if I get really crunched for time, I could probably cheat and solder wires.
I did that for I had a whole skirt done up with the flowers once.
Oh, nice.
I gave up on the idea of thread, and I just everything became wire. It's like, no, nobody cares. It's gonna be wire.
So I would love to hear more about your Lady Gaga mask project, because that was so impressive. I mean, it looked like legit the real deal. And yeah, like I'm curious, did you ever get any notice from Lady Gaga herself for it?
I didn't, but the company that made the original mask, I tagged them, and they were like, "Oh, this is amazing! Like, good job doing a knockoff of our project," which was awesome, because sometimes when you do that, people are like, "Don't knock off my project." But I mean, it was clearly for a Halloween costume, so
right, yeah.
Hopefully they'd be cool with it. But yeah, I just saw that, and I think that when COVID hit, all of us were going like, what skills do I have? What skills do I want to have? And at the time I was working for, I had like 5 jobs. I was working for a company that did like LED lights and code and dance as a class. And so I was teaching in a few schools in Brooklyn, and then I was doing an after school program in Manhattan, and then I was doing my Techno Chic stuff, and I was doing some content creation, and I was like also the janitor because I needed to afford this space. So I was like literally I was just so overworked. So I went from being like absolutely exhausted to everything just bye, no more work. And I just had kind of started to list things like what would I like to do more of, and one of it was like, I'd like to get back into sewing, because that's something that I really enjoyed when I was younger and haven't picked up with. And I had started to do some LED stuff, and I had never done a matrix before. Like, I'd done LED strips, but never had a reason to do a matrix. And then I watched the VMAs, and I saw that costume, and for those of you who have never seen it, it's like a spandex bodysuit that's pink, and it has all these shapes cut out of it. And I thought 2 things. First, I was like, this is an amazing, I'm on my me, right? This is an amazing use of pink that doesn't look like young.
Yeah.
So, and that's just exciting, because I actually love the color pink, but you kind of risk looking like not being taken seriously if you wear it. And
I have a difficult relationship, with pink, kind of because of that. Like, it's a difficult color for me because of that. I avoided it for a very, very long time because, I wanted to be taken seriously as an engineer, and that means you can't be girly, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, not right, wrong, but I get you. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, like it's you, and I, working in retail, I learned how to control how people would talk to me based on what I was wearing and how I was standing and all of those things. And then I saw this costume, and I thought, like, it looked powerful to me. It's a weird costume. It's totally weird. Go look it up. But
it's Lady Gaga, right?
It's Lady Gaga, of course.
It's going to be weird. It's going to be great.
It really was. So, I was like, first off, I just thought it was an amazing costume. And then she had this mask that was like totally techie, which is obviously also my other passion. And, I thought, okay, first off, I had always wanted to sew spandex because I wanted to get into costume making, never did it. And I had heard it was really hard.
Yeah.
And I'd always wanted to do a matrix. And I heard that was hard, but I had time. So I was like, well, this is what I'm doing. And it was around my birthday, actually, in 2020. So my boyfriend got me I wasn't going to buy the matrix there. I think it was over $200 worth of LEDs in the matrix. Yeah. So I was actually going to fake it with like a Raspberry Pi, like with one of the little screens that you could get. But he got me like the actual ones that Lady Gaga used. So like for my birthday. So that was just cool because I was like, now I get to feel legit. You know, I'm going to make this thing and it's going to look exactly like the real thing. And I'm also pretty sure a lot of the fabric that I bought, not all of the colors, but some of them I'm pretty sure were like the same, you know, color swatch that was used in her costume. Nice. So yeah, I was like so happy to see this goal come up after like all those, like, you know, 2020 was just, everyone's just like scrambling for purpose and all of that. And that's what I did with it.
Cool.
But yeah, I have the mask here if you want to take a look. I don't know if you have, I don't actually know if it even turns on, but I could plug it in and find out. So this is like a 2-year-old project, but so I have it on a little head here.
Dang, so cool.
Here, actually, I'll plug it in. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Want to bet on it? I'm plugging it into my like wall USB plug.
I'm optimistic. I think it's gonna work.
Yeah,
it's on.
Oh yeah, there it goes.
Nice.
Yeah. So, and actually, the tape did undo itself. No. It was funny, you know. I was like, I don't usually use duct tape, but this thing has to last for like one Halloween night. So.
Right. Cool.
Yeah.
And now, where you published the instructions for it too, right?
Yeah, I did. And
yeah, is it on Instructables or your website? Or
they're on Instructables and on my blog technochic.net. And I'm still in the process of creating the video for the spandex bodysuit, which nice. I did. I shot everything. Unfortunately, I had a hard drive failure at like the end of 2022, and like it's still now, like, you know, 2 years later, and I'm going like, no, it's on my to-do list. I have to put that video together.
We have plenty of things like that. Plenty of things that are on the to-do list and kind of languishing at the bottom.
Yes. What have you been working on lately that you're like, oh, I just wish I could finish?
Oh,
or everything.
so many things. We're working on some more soldering kits. We have some very basic, like, you know, beginning soldering kits that are just basically, you know, a 2032 battery and some of these, you know, rainbow self-blinking LEDs and a switch, and have like a fun little graphic on it. So the first one was actually Robin's first circuit board that she designed. And it's the happy rain cloud. It's like a little rain. It's like a little cloud, and like the raindrops are the LEDs, and it twinkles. And so, you know, then we had to have balance in the universe. So we made the angry storm cloud, and and so that one has like a little cute angry face, and it's like a black circuit board, and you know, it has lightning bolts to the raindrops, which are yellow flashing LEDs. And so we're rounding out our cloud series. So she's been working on Sunny Surprise and Chilly Snow Cloud and Radiant Rainbow.
Cool.
So we'll have like a whole little series, and we'll probably put together like kits of like one of each, and see how those do. And then I've been working on a specific soldering kit for learning to surface mount solder.
Oh, wow. Oh.
Yeah. And that will also have a lot of blinky LEDs on it, and have a 555 timer circuit on it, blinking them at different rates. Nice. So that'll be kind of a fun learning thing too. And And let's see, Lee is helping us design a Pride board. And so like a Pride soldering kit, and that's going to be super cool. I'm really excited about that. They put together some awesome artwork for it that I can't wait to show people when it's like a little bit closer. And yeah, and you'll be able, the idea is that you'll be able to choose your own LED colors. So the kit will come with like a bunch of different surface mount LEDs, just like little cut strips, and you'll be able to assemble your own little like, you know, Pride cloud of LEDs, how you want it to be. Yeah, and you might even be able to choose your own blinking rate as well. You might supply a few different capacitors to do that with.
Yeah.
And that one's also going to be a surface mount kit because the artwork is nice and we don't want all the through holes poking through on that one. And then let's see, also working on some more things with, I think everything has LEDs. Yeah, everything has LEDs.
Like
it
LEDs,
doesn't,
yeah.
you know. So I'm taking an embedded programming class right now. It's taught by Alicia White, who has been doing that kind of stuff for over 20 years. And it's a really awesome opportunity for me to fill in the blanks, because while I have a lot of experience with electronics hardware and putting together circuit boards, I have less experience doing embedded programming. And so it's awesome. There's a lot of information and I'm putting a lot into it because I want to get a lot out of it. But we're starting to do final projects for that. And my idea is to do basically an LED box, but one that will function like a color palette picker kind of a thing. So there'll be like a ring LED, a ring of addressable LEDs. And there's going to be, it started out as a strip, but now I'm leaning more towards a few strips that are, or maybe even just like a small matrix. And the idea there is that you would also have knobs on the bottom and a couple buttons, and you would be able to go through different color palette modes.
Cool.
So yeah, so one mode would be like complementary colors, and then the other mode would be like split complementary, and you'd be able to adjust the angle of the colors like around the color wheel. So if your main color, let's do it this way. If your main color is like up here, right? Your complementary color is going to be down here. I need to zoom out just a little bit more for this color wheel demonstration. So your color is up here. Let's say it's like red. Your complementary color is down here. It's going to be green. And so your split complementaries are going to be just off to either side of your complementary. And so that's going to be like kind of bluish and like yellowy green, right? And then one knob will allow you to like kind of change your main color, which will rotate everything around the wheel. And then another knob will allow you to change this angle. So you can get, you can adjust it more towards the actual complementary to be more contrasty, or you can do like this perfectly balanced what's called a triad, where everybody is at equal angles. Or you could actually push it past a triad and then get to like an adjacent color scheme if you want. But you'll be able to see that all with the LEDs, and you'll be able to see the main color with a few different variations on the brightness, and then have the color information presented on an LCD so you can see what your RGB values are. So the idea is like, yeah, the idea is to be able to sort of like pick color palettes, but with LEDs instead of, with the computer and, an app or whatever.
Right. That would be so helpful. So I have a NeoPixel bike. My bicycle has lines of NeoPixels all over it. And I find it so hard because like what you think you're going to get is never actually what you're going to get. So it actually is so valuable to be able to do that. It sounds like it's one-to-one, but it just doesn't, you know.
No, it doesn't. And it doesn't even translate from like computer hex color codes really to the way that addressable LEDs look. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So
and I've been seeing like differences between brands of LED too. So it's like if you're using what you're using, then you can see it for real in real life.
Yes, and I like part of it too, and we'll see. There's already been a lot of feature creep on this project, so we'll see how much I can get done. But yeah, my other idea was that I wanted to be able to have a few different types of styles of addressable LEDs, or at least allow you to plug in different strips and compare the different strips against each other, and maybe even compare them to like an analog RGB LED. So yeah. But that's going to take a lot more pins than I have. So we'll see.
Gotcha. Yeah, I wonder, like, I feel like the one thing that the world needs is a universal, like, NeoPixel connector.
Yeah.
Like, man. Like, every time you have those, like, clip strips, and then they don't fit the other brand, and then they fall out anyway. And
that's the problem with the clips, is that they just seem like really, it just never seems like they're very stable connections.
Right, I know. And it's like the coolest thing that you can do, you know, we're talking about like introducing people to tech, is like just connect these LEDs to a microcontroller, get it going on like a NeoPixel animation. That's so rewarding, and it's so sad, like when I've done that with students, and it's like the connection, like the physical thing that is touching the LED strip is the thing that's making it not work. And I'm going like, we were like 99.9% there, you know?
Right. Yeah. Like it's not your fault. It's just the way hardware is sometimes, and crappy connectors ruin everything.
Yeah. But I mean, you know, I guess it'll come. Like, there's so many people doing projects like that now. It used to be you couldn't even get those connectors, so I'm happy that you can get them now. But
Definitely.
if that board, that sounds like a great thing. If there's at least some way, even if it's soldering, to connect the board, or like connect more LEDs to it, that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, for that part, I might phone it in a little bit and just like kind of leave it. I might just provide like a 1/10 inch 3-pin header and let the person with the strip figure it out, because I don't want to provide those clippy things as like the main interface, because I know that they're going to be a problem. Yeah.
Right.
So I'll let people decide, like if they need something really bomber, they can solder wires to their strip and you know, connectorize it and plug it in, or if they just want to quick test something out, then they can like rig up a clippy thing to you know. So yeah, totally. But I definitely will include a ring of LEDs on there, and some sort of a matrix maybe, or like strip can like that configured to look like a matrix, because like the mode, let's see, there's split complementary with complement, that has the most colors. That and dual complementary both have 4 colors. So I want to be able to show 4 colors, and then I want to be able to show some shades of those 4 colors underneath, so that you can see like, you know, accents and this and that. And so I'm thinking, you know, if the main color is 4 LEDs and I show 4 shades of it underneath, 4 colors, so it's 8 times 4, it's like 32 LEDs plus a ring of probably 16. So yeah, but I think I mean I can drive the like the matrix just as a strip essentially. So I think I only need like 1 output for that and 1 output for the ring, and those will be good. But I need a lot for like, I want to have several different knobs that you can use to sort of like dial in the color variations and So I'm going to need a few pins for each of those. And it would be nice to have like 2 auxiliary places for people to plug in different strips that they want. So like that's 2 more. And then when I was thinking of adding the analog with the PWM, that's the hard one, because you would need, like for that, I think I could only do, realistically, I could only do 4 LEDs, and I wouldn't show the shades of each color. I would just show the main color maybe. And, but I would need 3 different PWM pins for each one. And that's where it starts to, get tricky. So yeah, I was looking at different ICs that are, there is an IC that I found that is actually in stock. That is it's basically a 12 LED driver. So it might be that I can sort of like fake the analog by using that separate chip as a driver and hook that up to the microcontroller. And then I think that'll work. But yeah, that again, scope creep. That might be on the nice to have list. Oh,
it's
cool.
been a while since I've done like an RGB LED.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the addressable ones are really nice because you only need 1 pin, and for so many of them, it's almost like, why would you use an analog, LED these days?
It's like and like even with all the cosplay stuff, which I'm only starting to get into, it's like so many people are doing that too, who aren't even, they're not interested. They're a lot like me, where I'm like, I don't necessarily need to know everything about the tech, but I want to learn everything that I need to accomplish the like art vision that I have, or like the costume piece that I have, and that's kind of how I go at it. And there's so many people who are there now, which is really cool to see. I'm not alone, just being like, I'm new here, and I would like to know how this Arduino works.
I think that's like the best thing about the maker community, is that everybody does things according to their own weird interests, and that's what keeps things interesting and fun and unusual, like I really like how like gatekeeping is at a pretty low minimum with the maker community. Definitely a lot lower than it is like in the workplace, I would say. And it's just nice that anything goes and people are willing to help each other out, Yeah,
absolutely. I think it's like probably one of the most welcoming communities that I've found.
Yeah. So what are the steps here that you're doing for the tutu? You got like a roll of sequence there?
Yeah, I could kind of talk through it for a second. So I just cut all of the tulle that came in the kit to about 16 inches. I just wrapped it around that piece of cardboard. And now I'm going to kind of like compose my tutu as I go. I have this like sequin waistband. It's like super stretchy, and it has 3 little sections in the back. So what I'm going to be doing is sticking my crochet hook, which comes in the kit, through the waistband, and then picking up a few pieces of tulle at a time and pulling it through, and then doing just kind of like a loop here. So putting my fingers through. Through, and then just kind of like letting it tighten around here. And that's how I'm going to make the whole tutu.
Oh, cool.
So it's like little ties.
Nice. Yeah.
And then eventually this whole thing will be full with like tools sticking out of it.
Nice.
And this is kind of the fun part too, because you can decide if you want it to be like a mixture of all the colors, or if you want to do like a blue section and then a pink section and then a white section. So you really can kind of have fun with this. And then at some point I'll weave in the LED twinkle lights that it comes with too. So,
cool.
The fun thing about working with the LEDs too is that when I first thought about it, I thought, oh, I probably shouldn't use like glitter or shiny things because it'll compete with the LEDs. And in actuality, everything just amplifies everything. So if you have like glitter, holographic things like mirrors, foil, everything is just in addition to the LED. It's great. So the more
Nice.
shiny you have, the better.
Interesting. So that elastic ribbon is like kind of it doesn't have like a solid elastic backing. It has a little bit of space that allows you to okay, yeah, okay, I see now. Yeah, nice.
Yeah. So if you really stretch it, you can see there's like holes there.
Yeah.
And that makes it really easy to put the crochet hook
through. I love how you're like creating the tutu as well. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean the whole point is to like experience the like craft and the tech together. That's really what I was going for with all these kits. And this is the craftiest one. And then I would say the bag is the most tech because you're really like only creating the circuit there. And then everything else is kind of a mix. But that was the idea, was to kind of just, you have a parent or really more like an aunt or an uncle who's in the, looking for a birthday present. And like, it's kind of this girly-ish kit with the unicorn kits that has the tech aspect to it. So, it's like just sprinkling a little bit of expectation bashing in there.
Nice. I like it.
I kind of like talking about this like with other makers like me who are like kind of like both sides because I say all that stuff because I'm usually just like, oh yeah, it's just a cute kit, like just get it. But yeah, it's fun. Let's
Definitely. See. All right, I'm going through and I'm verifying that I did indeed place all of my LEDs in the proper orientation. So all of my sort of bottom ones that are inside the LED graphic are in fact positive. So
good.
Cool.
Yay.
Yeah. And let's see. So I'll have 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, I think is how I'll do that. Do you have any advice on like attaching the thread to the LEDs? Because I kind of started doing, I did some sort of knots for the unicorn. And yeah, I was curious if you had any specific technique that you liked in order to make them really, on that. Yeah.
So the method that I use, I call the staple method. All right. Were you familiar with that? You might have followed my tutorial, but I know that was a year ago.
Please remind me. I did watch your tutorial and it was really good. Yeah.
Yeah, so the staple method is something I've been using. Like I just kind of started doing it that way. And I found that if I don't do the staple method, I run the risk of the thread kind of like untying itself and not being held by the like the structure, and then it could potentially stop turning on. So what I do, I'll kind of do a little. And it's actually really easy if you have like a set of needle nose pliers. I don't have my good ones. I'll use these. Okay. So when the LED goes through the fabric, I like to bend them facing up. Like this. Oh, let's see.
Oh,
so I pretend the fabric is
right. Yeah.
So I bend it 90 degrees, and then it's basically like a goalpost, right? And then I just tie regular knots, like around it a few times. And then imagine there's a knot now on this. I push it down to the like little elbow. And then I close it like a staple would. and I make sure that I pinch the end.
Got it.
And then that's making a mechanical connection around the thread.
Yeah.
And then that squeezing of the thread is what kind of like keeps the air away and keeps it nice and tight and snug and like connected and all of that. So,
Got it.
That's how I do it. And the first bag that I made, I think I did these kits in like 2018, is still working, which is pretty good, I think.
Yeah.
Did that make sense, by the way?
Yeah, no, that did make sense. Yeah, let me look at what I did. I have the other bag right here. I could just look at what I did on it. I think I ended up doing something slightly different maybe, but no, I think it actually is pretty.
I can't see it
under the camera here. Now, let's see about. I think I did pretty much the same thing where I have like the knots in the corner there and it bent off. It's probably not squishing the wire as much. Okay. Yeah, but it's at least somewhat keeping it on. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's really like in all of these situations, you're just trying to make the most solid connection that you can, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And as you do these more and more, it's like it doesn't have to be perfect, but doing those little pinches I found were like the thing that got me a lot closer. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other kind of fun thing about the thread is you almost can use it as wire, because depending on how you laid out your circuit, if there's just kind of like, let's say there's 5 inches between your 2 points, you actually could kind of like tie it and then tie it again and not really do a lot of sewing in between. Maybe just a little pickup stitch, but you don't really have to go in and do like a whip stitch or whatever the like very simple one is.
I think I ended up, I did like maybe every 3/4 of an inch or so. Yeah. I think I kind of picked it up. You can sort of see here, like there are the stitches.
Right, and you're doing it so that on the inside of the bag is the bulk of the thread, and you're just holding it in place, so that the front of the bag, you don't really know. Like, I wouldn't like, oh, I see that tiny little dot of thread. You don't see it.
Yep. No, I like that. I appreciated like the technique on that, like, sharing it, because I don't think I would have, if I were just kind of like doing this without any other input, I don't think I would have thought about that.
Yeah, there's a lot of techniques out there. I think everyone has their favorite, but that's the one I like.
Nice.
I also have a tutorial. There's like a heart t-shirt on my YouTube channel that shows the staple technique as well.
Nice.
It's more like direct versus following the tutorial for the bag, which would be more for if you have the kit.
Yeah.
But the t-shirt's nice too, because it shows you kind of what you're doing now, which is like a circular circuit rather than a straight line.
Yep.
Right. So I'm doing blue and white and pink and purple, alternating.
Nice.
These colors kind of remind me of like, I don't know, like, what is that, like 90s, like pink and purple together?
Yeah.
I want to go roller skating or something.
Nice.
So this one almost reminds me of when I was a kid. I did those little like latch hook kits.
Yeah.
Did you ever do that? Yeah, I don't quite remember all the details, but I remember it was like I could watch TV on Friday nights and I could do a craft, and that was like double whammy. 2 good things about Friday.
Well, that is how most of my knitting gets done these days, for sure, is like in front of the TV. Yup.
Yeah, that's looking pretty good.
Okay, let's see.
Yeah, so there's no way that I'm going to finish that. I need a good movie.
It's about the journey. Kind of, I don't know if this is good or not. We'll see. I'm just like, this bag is so thin that
Yeah.
I'm making the stitches like a little bit bigger than I did
Yeah.
on yours. And I'm kind of just trying to kind of go, I don't know, back. I guess I'm kind of going backwards like that. Because like I sort of feel like if I just went under that I might, I don't know, it might bind, like it might move after the fact. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like a drawstring. If I just have this like sewn straight through a bunch of stitches, then the bag could sort of have the potential of gathering on this. Whereas
Maybe. Is the bag stretchy at all?
No, it's not stretchy. I'm probably overthinking this. I mean, you
Yeah.
know.
I think you're only overthinking it because you probably had the experience of a stretchy fabric doing that. But when I got those bags, I was adamant that it was going to be a non-stretch fabric because if it is, then exactly what you described, like it bunches up and then it comes back together and now there's a weird bunch and your thread's also touching the wrong thing and now it's not, gonna turn on anymore.
Yeah.
But if it's not that, then, I liked your idea of, potentially once it's done, either sewing a piece of fabric on top of it or doing like a iron-on fusible, just like once it's all working, and then that'll protect everything and keep it all like structurally flat, I guess.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. Like, because that was one of the things too that I really liked about your bag is that you had obviously like designed it with the kit in mind to have that really big pocket on the inside that would cover up all of your stitches. And I was like, oh, that's really smart because, I could see that wearing as you use the bag and put stuff in and out, or accidentally shorting your, LEDs out if you have something metal in there, whatever. And I was thinking like, oh, I kind of want a protective layer on this bag, but it doesn't have a pocket. So
right. Yeah, I mean, I guess the other option so I had a tote bag similar to the one that I ended up getting made for the kit. And it did have a pocket. And I actually loved that pocket first for its ability to hold my phone that doesn't get lost in the bottom of the bag. But then I realized like, wow, that's the perfect place to hide a circuit and have something useful. But all it is it's 2 squares of fabric sewn together and then sewn at the top with like the top side open. So, I'd say, I am sold out of those bags. So if anyone out there is like wanting to make this, it's a fairly easy sewing project to make a pocket too. So you could do that. And the other benefit is, like you just did with the bag from a year ago, when you're, a year has passed and you're like, gosh, I'd like to make another project. I wonder what the circuit looks like. It's not like embedded into something that you can't like lift up and look at anymore.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that's true. For this one, for if I do the sewable stuff, then the iron-on stuff, then it's going to be a one-way.
Right. One and done.
Yep.
But maybe that's just the like maker in me that you don't want to cover anything up because someone's going to ask you how you made it.
Yeah, that is true. Well, and it's also like, it's definitely a sewer and a knitter thing where it's like, let me see the back. Right? I want to see the back. I need to see how you did this.
Yeah. I was so lucky. They did a show in New York that was all the costumes from Broadway when Broadway was shut down. So you could actually you could look at the costumes up close. And I just thought that was so neat. Because you're always like you see it from the stage, like that's so pretty, but how did they do that? And then you get to see like all the handwork that goes into everything. So yeah, it's a maker thing. We got to see how stuff is put together. Reverse engineer everything in our heads.
Absolutely. How can I make something like that?
where it's like I was even thinking about like all the components that I've saved. Like I had a USB microscope and I broke the USB on it, and then I was like, oh my gosh, there's like a tiny LED ring in the end of this. I must harvest you, you know. No idea what I'm gonna use it for, but it just seemed like something that could not possibly be thrown away.
Well, we have a junk box.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And it's that same sort of thing where like broken electronics go. And because and sometimes you just want to see like how did they do those buttons? Like what was their implementation? Did they have like, was it like a silicon stack up? Did it have a a hard plastic point on the back of it that was like actuating it and like pushing another small button on a circuit board, or like how
yeah, I love that. I love looking through all that stuff. Oh, actually I have a show and tell.
Ooh, I want to see.
Do I have it? Of course, now I don't know where it is. Well, I'll have to send you somewhere else to look for it then. So what I was going to show you is one of the projects that I haven't created a video for yet, but plan on it. Hold me to it. Is I don't know if you watch Bob's Burgers, the TV show.
I don't, but Charlene, who's on the show, does. She does like really cool LED jewelry. And she's a cool, she is a big Bob's Burgers fan, and she does amazing stuff with like LED rings and things like that.
Awesome. Yeah, so on Bob's Burgers, one of the little boy characters has a keyboard. And it's like a very stylish little like 80s keyboard. And I bought this Rolly piano, which is like, it's like a piano that rolls up, right? It's like silicone. It has like a little controller and it rolls up, and it was perfect because I wanted to make his keyboard. So I basically like disassembled it and reskinned it.
Nice.
And it looks just like the keyboard. So keep an eye out for that. But when I had to cut the keyboard basically to, use it in my project, and I open it up and it's just this gorgeous, like labyrinth of tiny little metal traces that go into each key in the keyboard, but are on a flexible, like, I guess it's like plastic transfer sheet basically.
Yeah.
And I open it up and I'm going like, this is beautiful. So I like saved the scrap that I cut off of this thing just because I thought it was like a beautiful circuit board.
Nice.
And the same thing, like I basically repurposed all of the buttons on the board and fed them through to the buttons that I had created for the keyboard in the style of the cartoon, Nice. So that was a fun project. I really got to get on posting that one too.
Definitely.
Yeah. But that's a fun thing to do too with electronics, is just like give it the case that you want it to have.
Yes. Do you do a lot of 3D printing? Do you have a printer? Have you gotten into that?
Don't. I am not a part of that clan. I bought a 3D printer because everyone was doing it, and I just kept like having projects where I'm like, I'm going to use this, and then I'm just such a fast sculptor in like paper and foam core and all of the other materials that I would just end up making the thing I needed out of something else. It's not my medium. But
that's okay.
I appreciate everyone who does, and I have some friends who are like amazing modelers and are totally into that stuff. But I could see getting into it for the purpose of building your own cases.
Yeah.
That's actually where the Techno Chic name came from. Was my parents' computer store when I was a kid, you know, I was very lucky because my dad sold like camera equipment and computers. So, like we had a computer at home. Like not everyone had that, and I had a camera before all of my friends did. And I was looking at this store, and it's like beige Formica countertop with beige computer with black camera bag, you know, or like computer bag on the like beige pegboard wall. And I'm going like, you know, I'm that little kid who likes to craft. So like my room looks like purple yarn and like glitter and all this stuff. And then I go to work with my dad, and I'm like,
and it's all beige. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh god.
So, like,
the beige computers of the 80s, man.
Yeah. So he gave me a camera bag for my first camera. It was like a little black bag, and I was like, I am not having this. So I like embroidered on the bag to put color onto the bag. And you know, when I eventually got my first cell phone, I painted it with nail polish because it was just black. You know, so I just kind of became obsessed with like, technology is cool. Why doesn't it look good? And that's where like technology should be chic is where that came from. It's like, you know, turning it into something that's like actually visually, aesthetically cute as well.
Like it.
Yeah, so that's where that came from. And it actually was started because of my Etsy shop that I started, I think in 2008. It's been a while. Because I made, and then I started making jewelry out of old computer parts because I had a lot of access to them.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Do you know Amanda of Circuit Breaker Labs?
A little bit.
Cool. She was on the show a little while ago too, and yeah, her jewelry is awesome.
Like, I saw her at a few of the maker fairs. Like we were in that kind of like the place where you can buy things. I don't know what you call that.
Yeah. Like I know what you're talking about, like the little marketplace. Yeah,
her stuff is really, really good. Like she has such a cool operation. She did a YouTube video actually a while back about like her shop. So, you know, like going and like sorting all of the circuit boards by color, and like they're all scrap that she gets from all over. And I just thought that was like so neat because her work looks so professional that you almost don't believe that it's like an actual circuit board because it's like, you know, everything she's just measured out her like epoxy and everything's just so perfect. So I really am a big fan of her jewelry.
Nice. So I have an issue has just occurred to me.
Okay, what is the issue? Oh no.
Okay. So the issue is that this is all working out pretty well until like my idea of doing like two sides until I have to connect it to the battery because the one side is gonna have to jump. Well, will it? If I can do that. Oh, I might be able to go inside and outside. I think I can do it. Okay. Because like here, let me.
I don't know if I'm following.
I know. Let me grab a piece of paper and like draw what is on my mind here. I'm like,
draw it out, sketch it out.
Yeah. So, let's see, where's the paper here? There it is. So if I have LEDs over here that are like, let's say that's the outside, then that's the inside, right? And then I have inside and outside over here. So I'm going to have like positive, negative, right? So to attach them to my battery, because it's like a one-layer circuit board, right? So I could do that, I think. And because I was trying not to go all the way around the circle, just to, I don't know, reduce resistance. Again, probably overthinking it. But I guess I could do that and have like one battery here and then extend these up because the battery wires are insulated. So they could actually cross over the circuit.
I'm going to plug in my phone so I can hear you. Can you hear me now?
Yeah. and then have like the other one like that. So I could do like plus.
Sorry, I'm having an audio thing. Can you hear me?
Ooh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
My phone just needs to get plugged in, so I'm gonna do that.
Yeah, no worries.
What color LED are you using? Because I wonder if you need to worry about the like connecting back, the distance from the battery.
The rainbows. Ooh, why are we're getting echo now? Oh, from the phone.
No, the phone's off.
But that's where your audio was coming.
Before, yeah.
Where?
Whatever camera.
Yeah. Well, we might be okay now. I don't hear it now. Other side of the fabric. Yeah. So yeah, I could go on the other side of the fabric. So have a few comments in the chat about that. Yeah, I could put so I could go to the other side of the fabric, although then I would have like a little short segment on the other side, right? Which I'm not sure I really want to have. But I think keeping everything on the insides, because I also want it to be like a little bit more protected. That's why. So I think keeping everything on the inside, but just using the these will be wires that actually have insulation on them. And so this wire can cross over this one like no problem. So I could do something like that, I think. And
yeah, because that part will be insulated.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I could probably go all the way around and it wouldn't be that big of a deal. I just want to make sure that my LEDs are bright enough. I mean, that's important, right? Oh, so yeah. So Bob said Maurice Sendak is who I was trying to think of earlier, Where the Wild Things Are. Like,
oh yeah, that's great.
I feel like the style of the artwork on the bag is like reminiscent of that.
Yeah. Totally.
Oh, Pat says they would love to see the inside of the flexible piano board. And you've sparked.
Okay. I will give it like another 30 seconds of looking then. I know it's in here. Oh wait, I found it.
Ooh, cool.
Actually, I'll give you a sneak peek of the project. You want to see a sneak peek of the project?
Yeah.
So this is Gene's keyboard from Bob's Burgers.
Dang, wow. That looks cool.
I remember how to turn it on. Oh, here's a little on-off switch. And then if you're from the show, or if you know the show, no, maybe little foam buttons. I don't remember which one does it. There we go. It's a fart sound.
Nice. I love it. Yes.
It's got a little LED work. So this will be a video coming soon.
Nice.
But then I'll show you the inside of this. So I cut this off because it's a scrap.
Oh yeah. And that's just like sort of rubbery plastic on the outside?
Yeah, it's got to be some type of silicone because I tried to glue stuff to it and every adhesive was just like,
Yep. Definitely sounds like silicone.
Yeah. So look at this beauty. Oh, wait.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
There's actually like
cool.
multiple layers here. And then there's like these little tiny dots.
Yeah.
And then the mold of the interior of the keyboard, I don't know if you could see that, but there's little tiny dots underneath.
Oh, yes.
Silicone
for the actuation.
Line up with the little tiny dots on here, which it almost feels like Braille to me because they're little dots. And then they must, line up perfectly with whatever's on the next layer. And then you see all those like traces running back to the board. So it was just like, I think this thing cost maybe $20 on Amazon, So, you're just like, it's marketed as a toy, but it's like a really nice object.
Yeah, I find that so interesting. Like I don't know anything about how to make like how people make that kind of like cheap circuits that aren't on circuit boards. So I mean, I didn't even know, but there sometimes in some toys, there are paper circuits, which is crazy. It's like just paper with, I guess, conductive, ink on it. And I'm fascinated. I would love to learn more about like how those very, very like inexpensive circuits are made. Cause that's cool.
Yeah. It's, I mean, I'm not like a circuit. I do paper circuits like as a craft, right?
Right. Yeah.
Like I'm an electrical engineer and I'm going to put this in a product, but
exactly.
The flexible ones just are so interesting to me just because of their like wearables application and yeah, it seems like a good way to do it too.
Yeah.
Like, why make something rigid when you can make it flexible?
Oh, it looks like the remote we used for the traffic light game. Yeah, I need to revisit that because that remote did not work like we thought it would. And now we have some like ESP whatever's, not 32s, the other ones. And I want to just like use those maybe instead of the Leonardo, or just like hook them up to the Leonardo and use them just for Wi-Fi, so that we have actual traffic lights that I got at a surplus store. And so and like Robin and her dad built this really cool like wood enclosure for them. And we made them into a Simon Says game with arcade buttons. Cool. So the traffic lights flash and you have to do you have to enter the sequence in on the matching buttons. And but the only kind of issue was it was like the traffic lights are really, really bright. Like blindingly bright. And so we had like these really long wires running to the controller. Oh, now you're muted. So it would be nice to make the controller and the traffic lights wireless, have wireless communications, so that you could put the traffic lights like way up and out of the way so that they don't blind you. Oop, maybe. Oh, hang on. Hey, now we got you.
Okay. Cool. My thing is. Oh, I have to switch this. Sorry.
No worries.
Yeah, I went away for a second. Back camera. I don't know why it thinks that I'm sideways, but
yeah.
Just kind of turn it around.
Bones. All right. Well,
something like that. Well, you can see.
Oops. Yeah. Oh man, that's looking nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
Definitely has that like latch hook, or what were the like little carpets that you can make?
Yes. Okay. Interesting. So Bob says he has an op-amp educational kit where the project involves pencil graphite, making a finger touch resistor to control frequency. Yeah.
Oh, that's fun for audio.
Yeah.
It's like a
theremin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
cool. I just came across. Oh, I have to look it back up again because I can't remember what it was or who it was. Somebody actually like had a song and it was like called Theremin. It was like a Theremin remix of the song. And I was like, what? So now I'm like, ooh, I think I need to like somehow make a playlist in Pandora of like all Theremin music that I find, because how cool is that?
That is awesome. And then share it, because there's a bunch of people out there who would like I don't know who they are, but they're out there.
They're out
there.
Gonna
appreciate it. Yeah, they're somewhere.
Yup. Definitely. All right. I am going to. It's interesting how much stored energy this thread has. It's very.
Were you getting like little shock.
Yeah, like little
Static.
squiggles in it a little bit as I
Oh.
get towards the center of the bobbin. Yeah, I definitely want to do more projects with thread and stuff. It's way too fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I even
You were-
just did a little bracelet. Like this is like the standard sewing project.
Mhm.
I'm doing this for
Nice.
one of my company's, Brown Dog Gadgets.
Yeah.
And it's just like a simple, but even just like these tiny little stitches, they're so fun. This is
Mhm.
one that uses a snap. So you just close
Ah,
the snap
nice.
and you have
And
the
it lights
light.
up.
Yeah.
Cool.
And you know, that utility, especially like for beginners, again, it's like you have this sewing project and you're putting your skills to work for a totally new purpose.
Yeah.
And I love the idea of the snap too, because it's like useful and part of the project
Yeah.
or a part of the circuit, I guess I should say.
Yes. Yeah, there used to be a SparkFun board with a bunch of snaps on it.
Oh yes, I remember that.
Yeah, I just
was
like
it
ran across it
fabric
the other
kit or something?
Yeah, there was something. I just ran across it the other day and I was like, oh dang, I wish they kind of still had this.
Yeah. Yeah,
love
I
to
had a
play
bunch
with
of that stuff too. It was like little snaps that you could kind of, and they had like little places that you could sew the thread to, I think. as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, I think so. I think so.
Like, I wonder if I have that here too. I have so much. I have so many things. I am a chronic optimist with what I can accomplish in terms of projects. So I have many, many piles of materials for something that just like never happened.
Oh yeah. We have plenty of like boxes of various components and parts that are waiting for a day where we have time to put them together into the project that we intended to do with them.
Yeah. And the sad thing is that when you've been doing this for a while, it's like, well, that project is like outdated now. You know? Like I can't even use that Arduino or like old lily pad or whatever.
Yeah.
Like doesn't even work anymore. Oh, so sad. Oh well, I don't think that's something I even should work on because it'll never change.
No,
there's
no.
so many things to do. Oh.
Yeah, there's well, and you know, starting new projects is just so much fun.
Yeah. Yeah, and I feel like the other thing for me is everything that I make, I go at it where I'm like, this is just for me. I'm making it for me. That's all I'm going to do. I don't need to tell anyone about it. And then I do like 2 steps and I'm like, okay, I have to go get the camera. Someone's got like, I want to make a tutorial now, you know.
Yep.
I always want to share what I'm doing. And I can't stop, but it makes the process so much longer. You're not just
it does. Yeah.
You know, and you with your video stuff too, you know, you're always always putting stuff together, telling a story.
Yeah, video takes a long time and it's just it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
It is a lot of work. And I don't think I also didn't realize how many filler words I use on a regular basis until I started doing videos.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess we're just chatting now, so I don't know how much of that I do, but you'll tell me, or everyone who's watching can tell me. Ooh, I like this pattern that I came up with this time. I think better than any. Kind of.
Ooh,
I did pink and purple in a bunch, and then blue and white in a bunch together.
Nice.
I'm going.
I like it.
Yeah. And I have a handful of these kits left. The Twinkling
Cool.
Tutu kit.
And that's on your website, right? Technochic.net?
Technosheet.net. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. And then I'm basically working more on doing like downloadable things now. So, you know, the process of going through all that manufacturing stuff that I was so excited at the beginning to tell you about, it was so much time to do it that I really wasn't able to, you know, have enough time to make actual money in my life. So what I've been doing lately is trying to think about designing some things that I can put out there as a pattern or a download. So
Nice.
You know, that way I can still share my work with people without it being like, oh, I have to go to a factory and figure out how to get it manufactured or whatever. So I'm happy about that. So I might be trying to put together the flowers and the bow ties as a download, because I know a lot of people have like the Cricut and the silhouette cutters too. You can do some hand foiling techniques using a laminator. So that's kind of cool. So there's like a lot of different things you could do with it too, if you just wanted to make that from scratch.
Yeah.
And I like doing all sorts of crafty, shiny stuff. So
that is the fun part. Oh man, I think I did cut it a little too short. Darn it.
Oh no, right. The thread?
Yes. I thought that I specifically did not do that, but I did. That's okay. Because I'm going to attach it at this convenient LED. So yeah, let's see. I'm going to bend over some more of these. To make sure they're all good. I'm going to also cut a little bit extra of that one off so that it doesn't short out. There we go. Okay. And then I'm going to bend over this one. And squish that down. And bend over this one. Squish that one down. I'm hoping, we'll see, hoping I can sort of get one string up and running, even if it's not with the battery. I think I can just run it off of a power supply for right now. And let's see, that's done, that's done, that's done. I'll have to like do something about those ends a little bit later. That one. And let's see. Okay, so I'm going to attach this one to the LED, and then I'm going to attach a new strand to the LED. Oh no. It's going to be hard because I just lost my needle. That's okay.
No.
I know. It's all falling apart right at the end. Trying to get it done. Trying to get it done before the stream is over. We'll see. I'll at least have I'll at least have like 3 LEDs hooked up. So
that's pretty good.
Yeah. Not too shabby.
Yeah. The 2 projects that we're doing are like the long form projects.
Yes.
That I came up with. But sometimes you need that.
Yeah.
Let your mind relax.
Definitely.
All right.
Okay. Let's see. There we go. That's looking pretty reasonable, I think. Okay. A little bit more. I'll just take the rest here. Maybe off of this thread.
I'm gonna put the batteries in my little case here.
Definitely at the point in my life where I need to use needle threaders because my eyesight is not what it used to be. Okay. All right. And let's see. I got. How do I tie this around? We'll just do this at first. And then put it around a few more times. Let's see, we're doing that and that. Get around. I really want to get one more LED in because then I can say that I'm halfway done.
I'd say I'm about halfway on the skirt as well.
Nice. So how do you go about threading the LEDs in on the skirt?
Yeah, there's a few different ways. One way is to just put like a little clip in the tool and stick the the little LED kind of has a little bit of mass to it there. So you just kind of like put a little nick where you want it and stick it through, and then kind of almost like you're doing with the metal of the LED leg there. You kind of like squish it back on itself.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. If you want to get real fancy or less fancy, I don't know whether it's more or less fancy, you could take some like fabric tack glue if you have overnight and just put a little tack of fabric glue where you want them to stay. But the thing is what you want to do is kind of separate the tool, because you want it to be like there's some tool in front of it so that it diffuses. So I usually like take the top piece or two and pull it up and go for one that's like behind.
Nice.
If that makes sense. That way they're not so much out in the open. And then the other thing on the end of this is I make a little pouch out of this to hold the battery pack. So if you notice, I left a little bit at the beginning, and that's to fold it over. And then I just stitch a little bit here, and then you can kind of like stick the battery pack in the waistband.
Nice.
So it would eventually be like that. And that way you can pull it out if you ever need to and replace the batteries. And you still have access to the little button. These are actually new. This is the second batch that I got.
Oh,
and
nice.
This one has a few different like patterns and colors that it goes through.
Nice.
And they were kind of more, they're like softer colors. Like some of them are more pastel than others that I had seen. So I was happy with it. But, the idea is just to like have some fun adding the lights to the project,
Yeah.
But that's them. So this is now my TV project. Finish this.
All right. I am on my last LED for the stream, at least.
Okay.
So attaching this, and I like doing a lot of knots around the leg just to make sure that it stays put.
I'm definitely the same. Like,
yeah. I put this work into it.
Well, whatever. I'll do another one just to make myself feel better.
Okay, and then I'll just do a little. Actually, this is going to go up to the corner. So, yeah, I might just do that over here. I'll zoom out to show you the pattern in a second. Okay. So what do we got going on here?
Woo!
Yeah. All right. So these two are my ends that I'm going to power. And then I'm going to try to keep away from each other. And then this one, I still need to bend over. It's my ugly one where I'm attaching the two wires together. And let's see, squish that down. Push that down there. And then, I feel like I might want to like eventually tack these wires down somehow. So I think I'm going to leave those there, like maybe knot them in the fabric as well. All right, let's see if this stays well enough to power it. All right. So I got a power supply here, and now positive is on my inside and negative is on the outside. And I want to do one more, bend with this one back over itself. There we go. Do the little stapley squish. Awesome. All right. And I see some LEDs through the back.
Yay.
Doing some things. All right, I'm going to see if I can turn it over. Let me see if I'm going to turn it inside out first.
Yeah.
And then,
Like that's a tall order to get those threads to not touch while inverting a bag.
I know. Mid project here. Okay, so put this back like this, and then I will fish my wires out again. And I'll fish you over here, you over there, and I'm like looking inside of my bag to make sure you can stay over there. You can stay over there. I mean, fortunately, the material of the bag is like a little bit grippy. So I think once I do this, I should be able to flip it with everything staying put. And now I have to figure out again. Okay, this is my outside, which was negative. And I mean, yeah, I'll zoom in a little bit. You can see that it's not the most invisible stitching, but that's okay.
It's a very busy bag though, so I don't think anyone's gonna notice. Ooh, yay!
Yeah, we're getting there.
That's awesome. I love that they're LEDs and they're LEDs.
Right? The LEDs needed LEDs. Had to be. Cool.
Cool.
Awesome. Actually, can we turn some lights off? Ooh, that's right. That's a little bit better, maybe. Can we turn that one off? Try to show it. Oh, there we go. Here, let me do it this way. There we go.
Very cool.
Yeah. Cool. That'll be cool. I'm excited. So yeah, I mean, you can see a little bit. You can see my stitching like does show through on the front more than it does on like your nice canvas bag. But I didn't want to take too small of a stitch because the bag was so thin that I didn't want it to just like pull through.
Yeah, understandable.
Yeah.
But as you continue that too, that'll add to the pattern, you know, so it is following the, I guess, style of the pattern.
Totally.
Yeah. you're adding to it.
All right. Pat's like, now I have to do this. Yes, you should. And Natasha, you were saying that you sell the kits, right? The thread and the LEDs and stuff like that on your website. So
yeah, so instead of I ran out of the bags, but I am selling a sewing circuit kit, which is everything that was in that kit minus the bag.
Awesome.
On the site. So yeah, look for it, because then you can do that to your bag.
Yes. And like, I know if you're a knitter, you have a lot of like the pretty nice canvas bags too, like the same style that this one is, because you tend to get them at events and all sorts of stuff. So yeah, you can see that the stitches are a lot less visible on this one. I'm sure I could have done an even better job, but whatever. I have a bag with LEDs that I'm happy with, so
that makes me so happy.
Yeah.
Cool. And I'm not gonna finish this, but I will eventually. But that's the point of this project, is to kind of sit down and have fun making it and taking your time, and then having the payoff in the end. So I'll finish this at some point. And I do have a handful of these left on the site as well, if anyone wants to make a tutu. All of these materials are really nice quality, the tulle and everything that I picked. So I think it's a good deal. You should get it.
Absolutely. I mean, yes, if you buy it off of your website, somebody else will have done all of the sourcing for you. Right? All you have to do is buy the kit, and it's good, and it'll work the way you think it'll work, and totally worth it.
Yay.
Totally. Cool. Oh, snap circuits. Yeah, Bob, that Elenco. Yeah, I think those are still being made. They're kind of the ones that snap together and do different electronics concepts. I should probably get a set of those. Those would be fun to play with.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Is there anything else that you have going on that you want to draw attention to or talk about? Or
no, I'm just I guess all these projects that I keep talking about that I'm like, I'm gonna finish. My YouTube channel is Techno Chic as well, so subscribe to that if you want to see any of these actually get published in the near, hopefully, future.
Cool. And follow you on Instagram.
What?
And follow you on Instagram, and
I'm Techno Chic on Instagram. I'm Techno Chic with an _ on Twitter. Not on Twitter as much, so.
Cool.
Yeah. So thank you so much for having me. This was so fun. I can't believe that 2 hours went by.
I know, it goes super fast. Thank you so much for coming. It was really, really fun. And we'll see everybody else next week. Yay. Bye.